had hoped that we would be able to resolve some things today.
What do you want to do, Clem?
I want to get out of here.
Okay.
Take your proposals back to the administration.
Clem, wait a second. Do you want me to reschedule another negotiating session for tomorrow morning?
Is there something new that we can discuss tomorrow?
Jill, I think it's up to the hospital whether or not we meet again. Now, Clem came here with a set of specific suggestions from the House Association.
From you, Frank.
Excuse me, just for the record, the House Association is backing Frank's plan all the way. Now, when the administration decides to take that plan seriously and act responsibly, this strike is going to be over. But if it continues to be evasive, as you have been for the last 2 hours today, then strike status will remain at Riverside.
Just hold on, Clem. Really, I resent that. Nobody's playing around with this situation. I said I would take your ideas back to the administration, and I will. But I also know how the administration responds to pressure. Ultimatum does not go down well.
Oh, that's very interesting, you know, because it seems nothing goes down well with that board except concessions from the House Association. So you tell them that we're not conceding anymore. Enough. It's their turn to compromise.
It's perfectly clear, to me anyway, that the staff is getting nowhere fast here. So I think it's time to bring in some outside reinforcements. Excuse me.
I think he's going to do something stupid and dangerous. I just know it. He's going to make things worse.
You try bear.
Hey, John.
Yeah, hey, Bob, listen to this.
Yeah?
Can you feature Jack Finelli in a Connemara hat, an Irish sweater, reading Yates by the banks of the River Clune?
No.
It's right here in black and white.
Well, look at it this way, Johnny. You always brought up Mary to believe she could do anything she wanted, right?
Right.
Well, maybe she can turn Finelli into a human being, huh? Reading Yates?
Yeah. Now listen to this. So strange the way parents give something to a child, and it comes back strongly and clearly years later in unexpected ways. I remember your stories about the Norman
keep Yates bought as his family's country home. And I remember Ma reading the poems about it. An ancient bridge and a more ancient tower. A farmhouse that is sheltered by its wall. Oh, but I wasn't prepared for the absolute delight I felt at being there. The farmhouse is now a splendid small bookstore, which Yates' spirit must love. And Jack, of course, bought books. It is a place of such simplicity and such beauty that we both wanted to stay forever. Jack kept thinking how splendid it would be to work here. And I kept imagining what fun the Yates children must have had. We explored the tower up and down the winding stairs. And then Jack settled in with his book by the stream. He was clearly fascinated with Mr. Yates' company and didn't need me. So, I went to find Yates' garden.
When you are old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true? But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. I went out to the hazelwood because a fire was in my head and cut and peeled a hazel wand and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in the stream and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossoms in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone and kiss her lips and take her hands and walk among long dappled grass and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun.
We'd parked the car directly under the slate with Yates' dedication. I'd missed it on the way in. I, the poet, William Yates, with old mill boards and sea-green slates, and smithy work from the Gort forge, restored this tower for my wife, George. And may these characters remain when all is ruin once again.
Just 2 more, and your day's work is done. If you're tired, we can finish up later.
No, I'm fine.
You realize you've been sitting up for almost an hour?
There you are. And please ask Royal to see me as soon as he gets back from Chicago.
Of course I will. Bill? Anything I can handle?
No, thank you. You might give me if you will, a hand with that pillow. I don't want to tax the old heart with any more wild activity than I have to.
The old heart is getting stronger every day.
Is it?
Hello. Are you up for a visitor?
Oh, yes, of course.
Sure. Everybody's pressed into service while the strike is on.
Well, I wish I could say the same for the administration of this hospital, but I don't even think they're negotiating in good faith.
Oh, didn't you get that proposal you wanted?
Oh, it's the same old token stuff. The House Association made a proposal which consisted of a list of practical changes which would free up the doctor's time and some cash. I must have spent hours hammering it out with them. Seneca Bullack took about 2 minutes to pour cold water all over it. However, the staff supports it. We are not giving up that easily, which brings me to the real reason I'm here. I think that proposal could use a little publicity.
You wouldn't happen to have a copy of it on you, would you?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
Terrific.
One for you, and one for you.
Hey, Frank. How does the Ryan plan sound to you, huh?
Not bad.
Good.
Now, I've gone over the hospital budget item by item and done a little pruning in each of the services.
Yeah, sure. Limiting the outpatient clinic to 12 hours instead of 18. Limiting emergency room service to those hours when the clinic is not functioning. Of course. Why do you need the overlap?
Exactly. Now, Riverside Hospital duplicates a number of services that other local hospitals offer. Renal dialysis, for instance. That could very easily be taken off the,
Frank, I'll read this in detail, but first, tell me what's on your mind. Do you want little publicity? You want big publicity? You want a leak from authoritative sources? Do you want a full reprint of this?
There's any number of ways we can handle it.
Well, I thought, for myself, of starting small and seeing how far we could get from there.
Judy's column?
No, smaller than that. Why don't we start with a simple threat? I will tell Dr. Bullack that the Woodard papers are ready to take a stand on the strike. We favor compromise. We are prepared to come out in favor of the Ryan plan soon. Then with that hovering over him, let's see whether or not that administration finally decides to listen to reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that just might be enough to do it.
Fine. Fine, Ray. Go on to it.
Look, I'm very grateful for this. Thank you. And I'll wait until I hear what happens.
You give me 1 hour with them.
I'll give you an hour and a half. How about that?
Thank you.
I'll see you.
Oh, Bill. You know, this could be useful to him. I mean, in terms of his political future, don't you think?
Yes. Yes, I certainly do.
Thing you call Union Center.
There's a folk park behind Bunratty Castle, with houses and cottages reconstructed as they were at various points in Irish history. And last night, in a turn-of-the-century Irish kitchen, the Shannon Development people presented a ceilidh, a traditional folk party. Lamb stew and brown bread and apple tart. So far, we've had a blow-by-blow account of every meal they've had in Ireland. And such music and dancing. I wished for you with all my heart. The great surprise was Jack. An afternoon of Yates, and an evening of pipe and fiddle, accordion and bodhrán, and he was on his feet with the best of them.
It's the Young and the Restless.
Hey, you got
Kleenex.
All right.
Dr. Bullack?
Mrs. Woodard, please, come in.
Thank you. Hello, Miss Coleridge. Hello.
Sit down.
Thank you again.
Problems?
No, my husband's very comfortable, thank you. I'd like a few minutes of your time to discuss some business.
All right.
Why don't I get in touch
Oh,
with
no,
you?
Miss Coleridge, I'd like you to stay, please. This is something that concerns you. I want to talk about the strike.
Oh, believe me, we don't like it any better than you do.
I'm sure you don't. However, I'm not approaching it now from a personal level. I'm here as a representative of the Woodard newspapers to speak to you as a representative of the hospital administration.
Oh?
Yes. After reviewing the Riverside issue, pro and con, the papers are now prepared to take a public position.
The person that you really should be talking to is Tom Desmond.
I think not. We are in full support of the plan approved by your House Association, the Ryan Plan.
The Ryan Plan? I assume you're talking about the proposals Frank Ryan made today at the negotiating session?
A practical and sensible solution to the problem.
Well, Mrs. Woodard, I'm afraid I really can't discuss that matter with you. It's completely confidential.
Which Frank knows perfectly well. I mean, the administration hasn't even looked at those proposals yet. And as far as the press is concerned, they shouldn't even be meddling in this kind of situation, in these kind of negotiations.
See, publicity now would just lock both sides into inflexible positions. Now, certainly your papers are more responsible than that.
I do wish I had the time to debate freedom of the press with you. Since I don't, I'll make one or two little points and be on my way. First, your administration has already locked itself into an inflexible position from which it will not budge. Second, newspapers have the right, if not moral obligation, to inform the press of health care in the city. Third, the Ryan Plan would work. And fourth, there is no intelligent alternative, is there?
Any number of alternatives are being considered right now.
And when will the trustees meet to consider the Ryan Plan?
That is not for you to worry about.
Perhaps it is for my reporters to investigate.
The trustees are conservative, painstaking people who are not going to be manipulated into making decisions.
Well, that's something else that I do think the public should be made aware of. In fact, the more I learn about this battle, the more I'd like to know. Seems to me that there are all kinds of things going on which are both unreasonable and unfair. Who knows what's being covered up? In any case, I thank you very much for your time. Please, do make sure that you let the administration know that the Woodard papers are deeply concerned.
The Ryan Plan?
He said he was going for reinforcements, didn't he?
You know, there was a time when he detested women like that.
He wants power. She'll give it to him. Maybe destroy this place in the process.
Anna Devane reunites with past love Robert Scorpio as the night shift becomes the center of a racial storm. The hospital drama you can't miss. An all-new General Hospital Night Shift. Tuesdays at 11 p.m. on SoapNet.